April 27th will, of course, be Jose Ramirez versus Rancy Barthelemy in the co-main event. Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Dulorme. Not only that, there's also a very interesting fight on the undercard, which may or may not deserve a higher spot, which is the return of Oscar Duarte versus Jojo Diaz. That's right. We thought that Jojo Diaz would be out of opportunities. No, he's back in another good fight. But anyways, we'll talk about Duarte versus Jojo first. Jojo Diaz is, of course, 33-5 with 1 draw, 15 wins by way of knockout, 0 losses by way of knockout. He is a very durable guy. Of course, he is on a bad losing streak. If you go back to his second loss, obviously his first loss was back in 2018 against Gary Russell Jr. But his second loss was against Devin Haney, and after that, he went 1-4 in his last 5 fights, which some make sense, others do not. Devin Haney makes sense. William Zepeda makes sense. Mercedo Gesta does not. Jerry Perez was a kind of not really a journeyman, but he definitely was not up there. And then Jesus Perez, which kind of makes sense, also doesn't, for the sole fact that that dude fights at sometimes fights at welterweight, so obviously a former featherweight won't be able to knock him out, obviously, or even do something. But he did lose split decision on that. I thought he edged out a decision, but at the same time, he kind of did something that made him lose a point, so that's on him. But anyways, of course, he is fighting Oscar Duarte. Of course, Oscar Duarte is coming off of the KO loss to Ryan Garcia. So his record is now 26-2 with a 1 draw, 21 wins by way of knockout, and 1 loss by way of knockout. Of course, we talked about that. But he is a big power puncher. But he has been fighting consistently at 135. So, very interesting. Not only that, his nickname is the Migraine. I still don't get that, but we'll talk about that later. But anyways, this will be a very interesting fight because I think this might be the actual last chance of Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz had main event twice, co-main event, fumbled that, and then he got some other stuff. And he got Golden Boy Fight Night main event, and he lost that, and now he's not even co-main event. But anyway, this will be a good fight. It would actually be a competitive fight. Of course, the 3 fights that we're going to be talking about, Jose Ramirez, Virgil Ortiz, and Jojo Diaz, one of them is not competitive, and we'll talk about that later. So who do I got winning, Duarte or Jojo Diaz? It'd be, once again, I'm going to have to go with Duarte. Look, I keep saying Jojo's going to edge it out. I'll be like, hey, man, he got everything he needs. He just has to punch more. And he never punches more. Or at least he's not aggressive. When he hurts people, he doesn't really jump on it. Like, he hurt Jesus Perez to the body, multiple times. Obviously, not like I can't breathe. No, obviously. But, he could, if he jumped on it, he could have got him taking a knee or something. But he didn't do that. And Duarte obviously has 1 knockout loss, but that, of course, is to Ryan Garcia, and that was to his left hook. I just got Duarte winning decision. I just can't see Jojo putting enough pressure, putting enough output to really get Duarte out of there. I'm rooting for Jojo. Yeah, like I said, he has everything he needs to win. He just needs to punch. I don't know if it's just that's just his fight style at this point. He just kind of shells up and then attacks. But if he goes to the body, first 5 rounds and goes to the head, obviously, I think he gets it done. But, I just don't trust him. I don't trust him at all. That's why I got Duarte winning. Split decision. That's right. It's going to be a close fight, but split decision win for Duarte. Very interesting fight. I think this will be fight of the night compared to the other ones. But, of course, the co-main event, Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Thomas Dulorme. Of course, Thomas is 26-6 with 1 draw, 17 wins by way of knockout, 3 losses by way of knockout, and of course 1 draw. He is coming off of a 3rd round TKO victory after basically a year layoff after his loss to Boots Ennis. Of course, the only people he lost to knockout to is very interesting. His first loss, which was by TKO, was Luis Abregu, and afterwards, you won't believe it, it's Terrence Crawford. He lost to Terrence Crawford via TKO. Then he went decision with Jordanis Ugas, which makes sense. Jamal James, makes sense. Iamantis Stanionis, which kind of doesn't make sense. And Jaron Ennis, that's where he got knocked out. And of course, Virgil Ortiz is a perfect 20-0, and I mean perfect 20 knockouts. Of course, he's coming off of a first-round stoppage victory over Frederick Lawson. May or may not have been premature, but at the same time, Frederick Lawson never really had a chance. But anyways, he is coming off of a big layoff. Actually, a really big layoff. 2 years, no fighting, and almost dying like twice in the same time. But he's healthy, should be. So good for him. But he is fighting a dude who is not too durable, especially against big power punchers, obviously. Had one fight in a year against like a dude that lost his last 6 fights. Virgil's gonna get him out in like 4 rounds. I just don't see it going that much. I don't think Thomas has that dog in him anymore. I don't really think he's that good of a win anymore. Could he upset? Yes, he technically could, but I don't think so. This is the fight that's not going to be competitive at all, because you got a humongous power puncher in Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus a guy who's only been 3 rounds in the last year. Okay, well, Virgil's only been 1 round in 2 years, but like, you get the point. I just can't see Thomas getting anything done. He's going to get starched in 4 rounds. But of course, the main event of the evening, Jose Ramirez versus Barthelemy. This will be a very interesting fight. Even though Barthelemy is 38, he has definitely shown that he can still kind of hang with people. Of course, he did lose 6-round TKO over Gary Antoine Russell. Would he have lost it anyways if it continued? Probably. But he got up and then they stopped the fight. So I don't know. Maybe they saw something that we didn't, but whatever. Of course, his other loss came to Curl Relic. Unanimous decision loss after beating him the first time, which sucks because the second time was for a world title. So yeah. But anyways, he is coming off of a majority decision win over Omar Juarez, kind of like a year ago. And the reason why it's going to be very interesting is because Jose Ramirez, 28-1 with 18 wins by way of knockout, coming off of an 11th round stoppage win over Richard Comey, who was a 135 pounder, by the way. He was getting touched a lot by Richard Comey. And Richard Comey, let's just say he's definitely not where he used to be. Of course, his one loss came to Josh Taylor for the undisputed fight. Very sad. But it's very interesting because he looked very, very bad against Jose Pedraza. But that was 2 years ago, so that's very interesting. But the thing is, Barthelemy is a very, very defensive fighter. He knows how to make it slow. He knows how to slow down the pace of fighters, unless you lunge in like Gary Antoine Russell. But the way he neutralized Omar Juarez's offense was so good. It was really good. Could he do that with Jose Ramirez? He 100% could, considering how he looked against Jose Pedraza. Because Jose Pedraza was kind of moving around. He wasn't there really to go blow for blow like Richard Comey. And Rancy Barthelemy is definitely not going blow for blow with him. So the way it's going to go is that there's a huge chance for an upset. There's a huge chance that Barthelemy just straight up just makes it super slow and a boring fight. I mean, the boring fight's the best fight for him. A very good chance, especially if Ramirez can't assert himself in the first 4 rounds. If he doesn't assert himself in the first 4 rounds, he's done. He's losing decision. But at the same time, Barthelemy is 38. He's been in the game for quite a bit of time. So I do think the age will get to him, Barthelemy, and I got Ramirez winning 7 rounds to 5. I think he'll get frustrated at some point. I think he'll win the last 2 rounds. I think that will get him the win. I think he'll win the last 2 rounds and get the dub. Considering Jose Ramirez, I don't know. I don't know if he's got back to the same level that he was before. Maybe he will in this fight, and if he does, he's going to win by stoppage. But I'm betting that he won't. It's going decision. Kid Blast will lose by decision once again. But anyways, those are the picks. Oscar Duarte split decision win over Jojo Diaz, unless Jojo Diaz decides to throw his hands. Virgil Ortiz blasting Dulorme in the first 4 rounds. Not going to be competitive at all. And I got Jose Ramirez edging out Rancy Barthelemy. Like I said, Barthelemy is very defensive. He knows how to be defensive. Obviously, he's a good defensive fighter. And he can slow down the fight to a snail's pace, which is a very good fight for him. But I do think his age will get to him. So I think he'll lose 7 rounds to 5. Simple as that. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.